Hello and welcome to some combat mission Battle for Normandy. Today we're tackling the small scenario called 18 Platoon. My force is 18 Platoon, a British rifle platoon from the Second World War under Lieutenant Napier. We have 3 normal rifle sections at full strength, a 51mm light mortar detachment consisting of 3 BODs, and a assault section with a brain gun, 2 riflemen, and they're carrying some demolition charges to help blow through buildings or the bocage. Is as follows. We're going to move up on the right hand side of the map, up a small hill in towards a sort of orchard position. We're going to use that to set up the light mortar and one of the sections in SBF, while 2 other sections are going to move right and across the open ground, one to get into a close-in SBF position on the orchard to the east, not the orchard, sorry, the hedgerow to the east of the farm, and the other one's going to flank through the orchard on the back end, right of the map, come all the way around behind the farm, and use the bocage to shoot through and engage the enemy from the rear. Our assault pioneers create a breach in the hedgerow to the right hand side to allow us to cross as safely as we can in towards the next hedgerow on the other side, closer towards the Germans' positions. We spot a German machine gunner in the farmyard to our front, hunkered down in a shell crater, so we get the light mortar to drop some 51mm HE bombs onto him to hopefully neutralise him, as the MG42 could provide a lot of resistance, especially compared to the brain gun. The brain gun is effective, but it simply does not have the rate of fire of the MG42 or 34, depending on what the German has. My free section under Corporal Merchant begins crossing the road in their fire teams, and as they cross they come under enemy fire from the hedgerow to their front, and a firefight breaks out. Now their positions actually chose where a enemy vehicle has crashed or been destroyed in the hedgerow, so they're using that as cover, and it's deflecting quite a lot of the rounds while they get some fire out towards the enemy. And we sustain our first casualty. Lance Corporal Larrington is shot, engaging enemies through the hedgerows to his front. 2 men from one section push through a small gap in the orchard on the right hand side to see if it's viable for the rest of the platoon to filter through to conduct a right flank attack, or if it is occupied by the enemy and we'll have to come up with another plan. The firefight on the left hand flank continues to develop. 3 sections putting rounds through the bocage they're using as cover and from behind the stug into the enemy positions. The enemy are using the farmhouse to good effect, covering them, and they're also using the shell craters in the front yard to use as fighting positions, which is working pretty well for the time being. I estimate the enemy strength to be about a fire team to a section's worth in the farmyard itself, with maybe a fire team in the building and then a couple small teams anchored on the hedgerow to its front. We begin sending up reinforcements up the road to support them and feed into the firefight as well. This is while our light mortar is putting smoke bombs into the open field on the right hand side to allow us to cross the open field and flank the enemy from the right hand side position. Two section under Corporal Bartlett move up in towards 3 section positions to support them with a firefight to begin getting fire superiority. Meanwhile, on the right flank, 1 section begin moving in teams along the open field in towards the burnt out half track to take up positions. Two sections brain gunner begins pouring fire in to the farmhouse itself, killing 1 German and heavily suppressing the other. Meanwhile, the light mortar switches from its smoke mission to put a few of its last bombs in towards the farmhouse itself. Although it's only a small bomb, 51mm, it still has a suppressive effect when used in close-in terrain because it is quite precise, and the bombs drop right in front of the German positions. spot a German machine gunner on the back inside of the objective shell crater. With his MG42, he can definitely suppress our attack on the right hand side. So we get the light mortar crew to put his last 3 51mm HE bombs onto his position to suppress him and hopefully take him out. Our troops have now crossed the open field and have moved through the gate. They're now moving into the small wood block on the top right hand corner map edge. They're beginning to form up in their assault positions, and then they're going to violently conduct the assault in towards the farmhouse position. The support by fire position begins to break down and move through the gate across the open field to the eastern bocage to reorientate themselves and set up there in a close-in SPF position. As they do this, a few sporadic 82mm mortars drop in from the enemy, but so far they are not posing any threat. The German machine gunner mentioned earlier begins to flee from a shell crater along towards the opposite end of the farmhouse. The troopers from the close-in SPF position and from the assault positions begin to put some machine gun fire down towards his location, hastening up his run back. Troopers from the assault position continue to put fire down the length of the farmyard, and a 2-man scout team begins to move in through the gate in towards the shell crater where the machine gunner was stationed next to the abandoned truck. Then we hear the sound of 82mm mortars coming in from the enemy. It lands on the road and to the front of the road of where my old SPF position is, but there's still troops there that haven't moved off yet. One mortar round takes out the 3 troops, wiping out a team of 2 section. The 2-man team from 1 section secures the shell crater and finds a dead German in it. They've now got a foothold in the farmyard. Elements of 1 section, the platoon headquarters, and the assault section, which has a Bren gun and 6 demolition charges, is a 3-man team, begin moving up through a small gap in the bocage and move through that across the open field into the bocage that lines the back of the farmhouse to begin enveloping the enemy position. As they do so, they spot the machine gunner that just shortly ran away from the shell crater beforehand next to the truck and begin engaging it. The Bren gun puts a few bursts down but misses, but strangely enough, Lieutenant Napier, with his Webley 38 caliber pistol, fires off 1 round and hits the German square in the head, taking him out. A fantastic bit of marksmanship there from the platoon commander. The 2-man team from 1 section moves up again across the open field and stops shy of the first farmyard building, peeking in through the windows. The final team of 1 section moves up on the left of the 2-man team that stops short of the building, and they also move across the open ground and get set to the left of the abandoned truck. They're going to get set there in SPF to allow an element of 3 section to bounce across the open ground. 1 section's 2-man team gets engaged by an enemy soldier with an MP40, but he misses, and the rest of the platoon manage to return fire and neutralise him before he causes any casualties. As you can see, 3 section leapfrog 1 section's left-hand team and push up to the closest building towards them to begin peeking in through the windows and pouring fire in. 1 section's rightmost team, the one anchored with 18 from headquarters, breaks off and moves through the gap in the hedgerow up to the 2-man team, which stops short of the building to help them with the assault. The rest of 3 section move up to support the assault. We begin moving into the buildings itself proper and clearing out the interiors of it. Luckily, we've managed to neutralise most of the enemy from the outside, so there isn't any brutal close quarter fighting. One section moves into the right hand side building and finds a couple of dead Germans and secures the objective. As the turn closes to the end of the ceasefire, we've captured the objectives and we've achieved a total victory. That's it. We get the end screen. A British Army total victory. 46 men okay, 3 men killed and 1 man wounded for ourselves. I think 3 of the injuries, the casualties, were sustained by the mortars, and then 1 of our troopers was shot. So pretty good going in my books, and if we managed to move off a little bit quicker, we'd have probably got away with just 1 injury, which is not bad going. The German army fared a little bit worse. They managed to save 8 of their guys. They're not actually on the map, so I'm not sure how that's happened. I don't know if maybe some of them managed to exit the map, or if it's something else like that. I'm unsure, but somehow 8 of them have managed to get away. 11 of them have been killed, and 4 of them have been wounded. And that is the end of the battle. A pretty short and succinct battle, and it was quite a lot of fun, focusing on small unit tactics and moving through the famous Normandy Bocage. I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. There'll be more videos of like this, some on much bigger scenarios, and from all of the combat missions, from this one to Final Blitzkrieg, Red Thunder, Professional Edition even. There'll be lots more coming out. So I hope you subscribe and that you enjoyed it. If you've got any feedback, feel free to leave it in the comments, and I'll take that on board and work to improve. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a good little scenario. And thank you very much. I will also just add a little bit of note on the end there for anyone interested. When I started this scenario, it was quite interesting. I chose it because of its name, 18 Platoon. And if any of you are familiar with sort of British Army memoirs, you'll probably know that name from a book by Sidney Jarry. It's quite a famous book. It follows him as a rifle platoon commander in the I believe the Somerset Light Infantry during the Second World War. He takes over just after sort of D-Day and the Battle of Hill 112, and he leads his platoon all the way through to the end of the war. And it's a really good book for anyone interested. It's not the easiest to get hold of. I bought my copy this year, 2025, and I think it was 26 quid, something like that. It's not cheap, but it is a really good book, and it details his story and leading his platoon through it, and it involves a few sort of smaller battles and a few bigger battles as well, and it's really quite interesting. You get a good sense for the war and his sort of leadership, I suppose. That was just a little extra note on the end anyway. Thank you for watching. See ya.